The school cafeteria in the 1980s and 1990s was more than just a place to eat. It was a bustling marketplace where black kids perfected the art of negotiation and community building. While other students might have casually swapped snacks, black children turned lunch trading into a sophisticated social economy that reflected cultural preferences, family traditions, and the creativity born from making every meal count. The trades weren't just about food. They were about connection, understanding what your classmates valued, and sometimes helping a friend who needed something extra. From cornbread squares to fruit punch barrels, these daily exchanges created bonds and memories that lasted far beyond the lunch bell. What made these trades so special? And why do they still bring smiles decades later? 1. Trading homemade cornbread for cafeteria pizza. When a black kid brought their grandmother's cornbread to school, wrapped carefully in aluminum foil and still holding a hint of warmth, it became the most coveted item at the lunch table. That golden brown square, with its slightly crispy edges and soft buttery center, represented home in a way the cafeteria's rectangular pizza could never match. Yet the trade happened daily, cornbread for pizza, because sometimes you wanted what you didn't have, and the cafeteria pizza, with its processed cheese and cardboard crust, held its own strange appeal to young taste buds. These trades went deeper than simple food swaps. The kid offering cornbread was sharing a piece of their grandmother's kitchen, the love baked into every batch she made early that morning. The cornbread wasn't just food. It was cultural currency that commanded respect. Meanwhile, the kid trading away their pizza was often dealing with lunch account money or free lunch tickets, and that cafeteria slice represented a kind of normalcy they wanted to share. Both children walked away satisfied, having created a small moment of equity and friendship. The exchange also revealed something about value systems in black communities. Homemade food carried weight and significance that store-bought or institutional food couldn't match. Yet there was no judgment in these trades, only the understanding that variety mattered, that sometimes you craved something different, and that sharing what you had was how friendships deepened. These cornbread trades taught kids about negotiation, cultural pride, and the simple generosity that defined so many black lunch tables. 2. Swapping hot sauce packets for fruit snacks. Hot sauce was a great equalizer in school cafeterias across black communities. Kids would arrive with Taco Bell hot sauce packets tucked in their pockets, saved from family dinners, or sometimes the coveted Louisiana hot sauce mini bottles that some cafeterias kept behind the counter. These tiny packets of spicy salvation could transform bland chicken nuggets or flavorless rice into something worth eating. And they were valuable. So valuable that kids without access to hot sauce would gladly trade their fruit roll UPS gushers or Scooby-Doo fruit snacks to get their hands on that liquid gold. The trade reflected a fundamental truth about black food culture. Seasoning matters. While some kids ate their cafeteria food as served, black children knew that a little hot sauce could make all the difference. It was a lesson learned at home, where hot sauce bottles lined kitchen tables and flavor was never optional. Bringing hot sauce to school wasn't just about personal preference. It was about maintaining standards and refusing to accept blandness. The kids who controlled the hot sauce supply held significant power in the lunchroom economy. These exchanges also demonstrated resourcefulness and planning. The kids trading hot sauce had thought ahead, had saved those packets, had understood their value before stepping into the cafeteria. Meanwhile, the kids offering fruit snacks were often those whose parents could afford to send them with extra treats, creating a small bridge between different economic situations. Nobody kept score, nobody counted who came out ahead. It was simply understood that hot sauce and fruit snacks served different but equally important purposes, and trading them was how everyone got what they needed. 3. Trading fried chicken for Lunchables. When a black kid arrived at school with a piece of fried chicken from last night's dinner, wrapped in paper towels and tucked into a plastic container, heads turned. That chicken, whether it was a drum, a wing, or a precious thigh, represented real food, seasoned perfectly with a crispy coating that even cold couldn't diminish. Yet the allure of Lunchables, with their perfectly portioned crackers, processed meat, and that tiny candy bar, created an irresistible trade opportunity. The kid with fried chicken wanted the novelty and convenience of the Lunchables, while the kid with the prepackaged meal craved the authentic taste of home cooking. This trade embodied complex feelings about assimilation and cultural identity. Fried chicken was superior in every measurable way: taste, nutrition, love. But Lunchables represented something advertised on television, something normal kids ate, something that came with its own little compartments and made you feel like everyone else. For black kids navigating predominantly white schools or simply wanting to fit in, that packaged lunch held social currency beyond its nutritional value. Trading away fried chicken felt like both a loss and a gain, losing a piece of home, but gaining a piece of mainstream childhood. Yet there was no shame in these exchanges, only understanding. The kid receiving the fried chicken knew they were getting the better deal in terms of taste and quality. They often ate it with reverence, sometimes commenting on the seasoning or asking what made it so good. These trades created moments where cultural exchange happened naturally, where black food traditions were shared and appreciated, and where both parties left the table satisfied in different ways. The fried chicken might have been traded, but the pride in its preparation remained. 4. Swapping Kool-Aid jammers for Capri Suns. The great juice box divide in black lunchrooms came down to Kool-Aid jammers versus Capri Sun. Both came in pouches. Both required careful straw insertion to avoid spilling, but they represented different cultural touchpoints. Kool-Aid jammers connected directly to the pitchers of Kool-Aid that appeared at every black family gathering, that sugary sweetness that defined childhood thirst. Capri Sun, meanwhile, carried the prestige of television commercials and the mysterious all-natural flavors that parents debated about. The trade happened constantly, driven by curiosity, preference, and the simple desire for variety. Black kids who brought Kool-Aid jammers to school carried a piece of home tradition. Kool-Aid wasn't just a drink in black communities. It was practically a food group mixed strong with plenty of sugar, served ice cold on hot days, and associated with good times and full tables. The jammers brought that experience to school in portable form, in flavors like tropical punch and cherry that hit differently than Capri Sun's more subdued taste. Yet Capri Sun represented something aspirational, a brand that seemed fancier, more expensive, more aligned with what kids saw in their friends' lunches from different neighborhoods. These trades revealed how black families navigated economics and cultural preferences. Kool-Aid jammers often cost less than Capri Sun, making them more accessible for families on tighter budgets. But the trades happened without judgment or commentary about who could afford what. Instead, kids simply expressed preferences and made exchanges that satisfied everyone. The child trading their Capri Sun for a Kool-Aid jammer might have genuinely preferred the stronger, sweeter taste, while the kid receiving the Capri Sun got to experience something different. Both walked away feeling like they'd won, and that sense of mutual satisfaction was what made the lunchroom economy work. 5. Trading honey buns for chips. Honey buns held almost mystical status in school lunchrooms, particularly the ones that came from vending machines or corner stores. Those Mrs. Freshley's or Duchess brand honey buns with their sticky glaze and impossibly sweet icing. When a black kid arrived with a honey bun, whether it came from home or was purchased during breakfast, it became immediate trading material. The dense sweet pastry could be split, shared, or traded whole for multiple bags of chips, creating deals that required negotiation skills worthy of Wall Street. A single honey bun might secure 2 bags of hot Cheetos, a bag of Doritos, and still have a piece left over for the original owner. The honey bun economy reflected deeper truths about black community food culture and economic realities. These pastries were inexpensive but filling, sweet enough to feel like a treat, and substantial enough to quiet a hungry stomach until dismissal. Many black families purchased them in bulk from discount stores or gas stations, making them affordable options for school lunches when money was tight. Yet their trading value far exceeded their purchase price, because taste and satisfaction mattered more than dollars and cents in the lunchroom marketplace. These trades also demonstrated the generosity embedded in black youth culture. The kid with the honey bun often broke off pieces for multiple friends, creating a sharing circle that went beyond simple one-to-one exchanges. Meanwhile, kids with chips understood that chips alone wouldn't satisfy, hung the way that dense honey bun would. So they traded generously, sometimes throwing in extra bags to make the deal feel fair. Nobody pulled out calculators or argued about exact equivalencies. The trades happened through understanding mutual benefit and the shared knowledge that tomorrow the roles might reverse, and the kid who traded chips today might bring the honey bun tomorrow. 6. Swapping homemade sweet potato pie for cosmic brownies. When a black child showed up to school with a slice of their grandmother's sweet potato pie, wrapped carefully in plastic wrap and nestled in a container, it represented the pinnacle of homemade excellence. That pie, with its perfect blend of sweet potato, cinnamon, nutmeg, and that silky texture that only comes from recipes passed down through generations, was unmatched in quality. Yet the trade for Little Debbie cosmic brownies happened regularly, because those chocolate brownies with their candy-coated chips represented something different: convenience, commercialized childhood, and the allure of what came wrapped in shiny packaging rather than made with love in a home kitchen. This exchange carried emotional complexity that both traders understood without discussing. The child offering sweet potato pie was sharing something sacred, a dessert that appeared at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Sunday dinners, made by hands that had been making it for decades. Trading it away might seem like disrespecting that tradition, but young palates sometimes craved the processed sweetness of mass-produced treats. The cosmic brownie, with its fudgy texture and those colorful chips that crunched satisfyingly, offered a different kind of pleasure. One advertised on television and eaten by kids in commercials who seemed to live carefree lives. Yet, the kid receiving the sweet potato pie knew they were getting something special. They often ate it slowly, savoring each bite, sometimes asking questions about how it was made or commenting that it tasted like their own grandmother's version. These trades became cultural exchanges where black food traditions were shared across friend groups, where homemade excellence was recognized and appreciated, even by kids who traded away processed snacks to get it. Both parties understood the unequal exchange in terms of quality and effort. But in the lunchroom economy, desire and novelty created their own form of equality. 7. Trading pickle juice for quarters. Pickle juice might seem like waste to some, but in black lunchrooms it was liquid gold. Kids who'd finished their pickles from corner store pickle-in-a-bag purchases would sell or trade the tangy, salty juice that remained, and other students would literally pay quarters for sips or would trade snacks to acquire it. The sharp, sour taste of pickle juice became a desired commodity, particularly in schools where the cafeteria food lacked flavor and excitement. Some kids brought entire small containers of pickle juice from home, having saved it from family-sized pickle jars, understanding its trading potential before they ever entered the lunchroom. This phenomenon spoke to a specific aspect of black food culture: the appreciation for bold, intense flavors. Pickle juice wasn't subtle or mild. It was aggressively sour and salty, a shock to the system that many black kids had grown up enjoying. Some families drank pickle juice as a remedy for cramps, others used it in cooking, and many simply enjoyed the taste. Bringing it to school and discovering that other black kids wanted it too created a sense of shared cultural understanding, a recognition that what others might consider strange or gross was actually delicious and worth having. The pickle juice economy also revealed entrepreneurial thinking among black youth. The kids who cornered the pickle juice market understood supply and demand before they'd ever taken an economics class. They knew that on hot days, pickle juice sold better. They knew which kids were regular customers and which needed convincing. They knew that a single pickle in a bag could yield multiple trades if handled correctly. These weren't just trades. They were business lessons happening in real time, teaching negotiation, customer relations, and the value of providing what people wanted, even when others didn't understand the appeal. 8. Swapping collard greens for chicken nuggets. The sight of collard greens in a school lunchroom typically meant one thing: a black kid had brought leftovers from Sunday dinner. Those dark, leafy greens, cooked down with smoked turkey or ham hocks until tender, seasoned with pepper and garlic, and served with a bit of their cooking liquid, pot liquor, represented real Southern soul food in the midst of cafeteria mediocrity. Yet the trade for bland, processed chicken nuggets happened frequently, because even though the collard greens were nutritionally superior and infinitely more flavorful, chicken nuggets were what kids saw on television, what came with Happy Meals, what felt normal and expected for school lunch. This trade embodied the tension between cultural food traditions and the desire for assimilation. Collard greens were undeniably delicious, especially when prepared by someone who knew what they were doing. But they also marked you as different in predominantly non-black schools. The smell alone, that distinctive aroma of cooked greens, could draw attention, comments, or even mockery from kids unfamiliar with soul food traditions. Trading them for chicken nuggets wasn't just about taste preference. Sometimes it was about avoiding unwanted attention, about fitting in, about not having to explain why you ate vegetables that others considered strange. Yet the kid who acquired those collard greens in the trade knew they'd scored something special. They often ate them with appreciation, sometimes commenting that they tasted like their own grandmother's cooking or asking for the recipe to take home. These trades became moments where cultural pride met practical social navigation, where both parties got what they needed. One got anonymity and normalcy. The other got authentic soul food. Nobody lost in these exchanges, but something bittersweet lingered in the air when a child felt compelled to trade away food that connected them to their heritage just to avoid being marked as different. 9. Trading pork rinds for goldfish crackers. Pork rinds, those crispy, puffy, intensely savory snacks that appeared in many black households, represented a specific cultural food preference that often surprised non-black classmates. When black kids brought bags of pork rinds to school, whether plain or hot sauce flavored, they became hot commodities for those who understood their appeal while also serving as excellent trading material. The exchange for goldfish crackers happened regularly, with kids swapping the bold, meaty crunch of pork rinds for the mild, cheesy comfort of goldfish. Both snacks were orange, both were crunchy, but they couldn't have been more different in flavor profile and cultural association. The pork rinds trade revealed economic realities alongside cultural preferences. Pork rinds were inexpensive, filling, and available at corner stores and gas stations throughout black neighborhoods. They provided protein and satisfaction in a snack-size package, making them practical for families watching budgets. Meanwhile, goldfish crackers cost more per ounce and were marketed as wholesome, parent-approved snacks through television advertising. The trade between these two snacks created a bridge between different economic circumstances and cultural backgrounds, with neither party viewing the exchange as unequal, just different. These trades also taught black kids about cultural navigation and code switching. The child who brought pork rinds knew they were delicious and saw no shame in eating them. But they also understood that in certain social contexts, goldfish crackers might draw less attention or fewer questions. The trade allowed for variety without requiring explanation. Meanwhile, kids from other backgrounds who'd never tried pork rinds before got introduced to a new taste experience, sometimes discovering a snack they genuinely enjoyed. The lunchroom became a space where cultural exchange happened organically, one snack trade at a time. 10. Swapping grape soda for chocolate milk. Grape soda held special status in black communities, whether it was the deep purple Welch's, the lighter Fanta, or the corner store brands. Grape soda meant celebration, cookouts, and good times. When black kids brought grape soda to school, either in cans or plastic bottles, it became prime trading material. The trade for cafeteria chocolate milk happened daily, with kids swapping the fizzy, intensely sweet grape flavor for the creamy, milder chocolate milk that came in those small cartons. Both drinks were treats, both were sugary, but they represented different taste memories and cultural touchpoints. The grape soda trade reflected both preference and accessibility. Grape soda was often purchased at corner stores in black neighborhoods, where single cans cost less than the bulk purchase juice boxes or milk that other families bought at grocery stores. It was the drink at family reunions, the soda that appeared at black churches after service, the beverage that adults and kids alike enjoyed. Bringing it to school meant bringing a piece of community culture, that specific purple sweetness that tasted like celebration. Trading it for chocolate milk wasn't about one being better than the other. It was about variety, about wanting something different, about the simple pleasure of exchange. These trades also revealed social dynamics and friendship bonds. The kid with grape soda often shared sips with multiple friends before making any trades, creating a moment of communal enjoyment. Meanwhile, kids with chocolate milk from the cafeteria line sometimes bought extra cartons specifically to trade, understanding the grape soda's value and wanting to be part of that exchange. Nobody questioned why grape soda mattered so much in Black culture. It just did. And that understanding was enough. The trades happened smoothly, naturally, with both parties walking away satisfied and looking forward to tomorrow's potential exchanges. 11. Trading hot tacos for plain lays. When tacos exploded onto the snack scene, they became instant legends in Black lunchrooms. Those rolled tortilla chips covered in intensely spicy, lime-flavored seasoning represented a new level of snack experience. They were bold, aggressive, and made your fingers stain bright red with their coating. Black kids who brought tacos to school controlled a hot commodity, but the trade for plain Lay's chips happened more often than outsiders might expect. The exchange wasn't about one snack being better, it was about balance, about sometimes needing a break from intensity, about the simple salty satisfaction that plain chips provided after days of spicy overload. The tacos trade revealed something about Black youth food culture and risk-taking. Tacos weren't for the timid. They challenged your taste buds, they made your eyes water. They required tolerance for heat and sour that not everyone possessed. Black kids who loved tacos wore that preference as a badge of honor, competing to see who could eat the most without drinking water, laughing as their lips turned red and their tongues burned. But even the most dedicated tacos lovers sometimes craved simplicity, and that's where the Lay's trade came in. Plain chips offered relief, a palate cleanser, a moment of calm in the midst of lunchroom chaos. These exchanges also demonstrated friendship and caring disguised as casual trades. Kids who noticed their friends overdoing it on spicy snacks would offer plain chips without judgment, creating an exit strategy from the spice challenge without making anyone lose face. Meanwhile, kids with plain chips who wanted to prove themselves could trade for tacos, entering the world of extreme flavors with support and encouragement. The trades became more than simple exchanges. They were social rituals that helped kids navigate peer pressure, personal limits, and the simple need for variety in what they ate every day. 12. Swapping mac and cheese for spaghetti. Homemade mac and cheese, the baked kind with the crispy, golden brown top layer and multiple cheese blend, not the Kraft box version, was serious business when it appeared in school lunch containers. Black kids who brought their families' mac and cheese to school carried cultural treasure, that creamy, cheesy pasta that appeared at every significant gathering and tasted like home in the best way possible. Yet the trade for cafeteria spaghetti happened regularly, because even mediocre spaghetti with its tomato sauce and supposed meat represented Italian food, something different, something that variety-seeking young palates craved despite its obvious inferiority in taste and quality. This exchange highlighted the paradox of desiring what you don't have. The mac and cheese was objectively better, made with love, real cheese, butter, eggs, and often a secret ingredient that made each family's version unique. It was a dish that Black cooks had perfected over generations, elevating simple pasta and cheese into something sublime. But cafeteria spaghetti, with its watery sauce and overcooked noodles, held appeal simply because it was different. The kid trading away precious mac and cheese wasn't insulting their family's cooking. They were simply expressing the universal childhood desire for novelty. These trades also created teaching moments about appreciation and cultural value. The kid receiving the mac and cheese often recognized what they were getting, sometimes commenting that it beat anything the cafeteria served, sometimes asking if they could get the recipe for their own family. These exchanges became opportunities to share cultural food knowledge, to explain why this mac and cheese tasted different from the box version, to talk about family gatherings where this dish appeared. Both traders walked away with full stomachs, but the kid who received the mac and cheese also walked away with a deeper appreciation for Black culinary traditions. 13. Trading candy necklaces for now and laters. Candy necklaces, those elastic strings of pastel-colored candy beads that you wore and ate simultaneously, represented pure childhood joy and practical fashion. When Black kids brought candy necklaces to school, they wore them proudly, nibbling beads throughout the day and showing off their edible jewelry. But the trade for now and laters happened constantly, because those square, individually wrapped candies held special status in black communities. Now, and laters weren't just candy. They were currency, patience training, and a test of dental strength, all wrapped up in a small package. The trade usually favored now and laters heavily, with one pack commanding multiple candy necklaces due to their superior value and longer-lasting enjoyment. The now and later economy in black lunchrooms operated on principles of delayed gratification and community sharing. These candies got their name from their dual texture. You could bite into them now and enjoy the initial flavor burst, or you could suck on them patiently and make them last later. Black kids understood this duality implicitly, often timing their now and later consumption to make a single piece last an entire class period. The flavors cherry, grape, apple, watermelon were intense and long-lasting, providing entertainment and taste satisfaction that candy necklaces couldn't match despite their fun presentation. These trades also revealed social hierarchies and friendship economics. The kid who arrived with multiple packs of now and laters held power in the lunchroom trading market, able to command significant returns for their candy or to demonstrate generosity by sharing freely. Meanwhile, kids with candy necklaces had to negotiate carefully, sometimes bundling multiple necklaces together to secure a single pack of now and laters. But the trades happened without resentment, because both parties understood the value differential and accepted it. The kid trading away their candy necklace knew they were getting the better deal in terms of lasting enjoyment, even if they had to surrender more volume. 14. Swapping barbecue rib tips for turkey sandwich. When a black kid brought barbecue rib tips to school, those small meat-studded pieces from the end of a rib rack, drowning in sauce and wrapped in aluminum foil, the entire lunch table noticed. That smoky, tangy aroma filled the air, making mouths water and creating instant envy among nearby students. Yet the trade for a plain turkey sandwich happened more often than the rib tip's deliciousness would suggest, because eating messy barbecue at school presented problems that a neat sandwich didn't. The kid with rib tips might genuinely want the convenience and cleanliness of a sandwich, while the kid with the turkey sandwich jumped at the chance to experience real barbecue, even if it meant sticky fingers and sauce-stained clothes. This trade embodied practical considerations alongside taste preferences. Rib tips required full attention and multiple napkins, leaving your fingers sticky with sauce, sometimes getting lodged between teeth, and definitely marking your shirt if you weren't careful. In a school environment where you had limited time to eat, no place to properly wash up afterward, and several more classes to attend, messy food created complications. The turkey sandwich, boring as it might be, could be eaten quickly and cleanly, leaving no evidence behind. The trade allowed both kids to satisfy different needs, one for convenience, one for flavor. These exchanges also created moments of genuine generosity and cultural sharing. The kid receiving the rib tips often shared bites with others at the table, creating a communal tasting experience where friends could sample real barbecue even if they couldn't trade for the whole thing. Meanwhile, the kid who traded away their rib tips sometimes received more than just a sandwich. They got extra chips, a dessert, or even help with homework later. The lunchroom economy operated on unspoken rules where exceptional items, like barbecue, commanded exceptional returns, and everyone understood that some foods were special enough to warrant extra consideration in trades. 15. Trading chitlins for ham sandwich. Chitlins, the cleaned and cooked small intestines of pigs, a delicacy in black Southern cooking, represented perhaps the most culturally specific food that appeared in school lunch containers. When prepared correctly by someone who knew the lengthy cleaning and cooking process, chitlins were tender, flavorful, and a direct connection to soul food history and making use of every part of the animal. But bringing them to school meant bringing a smell that divided rooms, a food that required explanation, and often resulted in immediate trades for ham sandwiches or other neutral items. The kid with chitlins wasn't ashamed of their cultural food, but they understood that school wasn't always the right venue for items as polarizing. The chitlins trade carried complex feelings about cultural pride versus social acceptance. These weren't just any leftovers. They were food that connected directly to Black history, to the creativity born from necessity, when enslaved people were given only the parts of animals that plantation owners didn't want. Generations of Black cooks had transformed chitlins into something delicious through skill and seasoning, creating a dish that appeared at celebrations and holiday tables. But the smell alone, that distinctive aroma that some loved and others couldn't tolerate, made eating them at school challenging. Trading them for a ham sandwich was practical, but it also meant temporarily hiding a piece of cultural identity. Yet these trades happened with dignity and understanding. The kid offering the ham sandwich often did so quietly, recognizing that their classmate might be getting teased or feeling uncomfortable. Sometimes the kid receiving the chitlins genuinely appreciated them, having grown up eating them at their own family gatherings and being happy to take them off their friends' hands. Other times, the chitlins ended up in the trash after the trade was complete, not because they were bad, but because school wasn't the right environment. These exchanges taught Black kids early lessons about navigating different cultural spaces and deciding when to display their heritage fully and when to code switch for comfort. 16. Swapping fruit punch barrel for apple juice box. The Little Hug fruit barrels, those small barrel-shaped containers of intensely sweet fruit punch that you had to peel the foil off the top to drink, were lunchroom staples in Black communities. Available in multiple flavors, but most iconically in fruit punch red. These drinks cost pennies at corner stores and came in bulk packages that made them affordable for families packing daily lunches. The trade for Mott's apple juice boxes happened constantly, with kids swapping the super sweet, artificially flavored punch for the milder, more natural apple juice. Both were juice drinks, both came in small containers, but they represented different economic realities and taste preferences. The fruit punch barrel trade revealed class differences without ever explicitly naming them. These barrels were bargain drinks, the affordable option that Black families bought in large quantities because they cost significantly less than brand-name juice boxes. But they were also beloved. That specific taste of red fruit punch was associated with summer cookouts, corner store runs, and the simple pleasure of peeling back that foil seal. Kids who brought fruit punch barrels to school felt no shame about them. But they also understood that apple juice boxes carried different social currency, appearing in commercials and packed in lunches shown on television shows. These exchanges functioned as small acts of social bridge building. The kid trading away their apple juice box for a fruit punch barrel might have genuinely preferred the sweeter taste, or they might have recognized that their friend wanted variety and was willing to facilitate that. Meanwhile, the kid receiving the apple juice got to experience something different, something that felt more aligned with what they saw as normal school lunch items. Both parties benefited, and the trade happened without commentary about which family could afford what. The lunchroom economy operated on desire and preference, not on judgment about economic circumstances. 17. Trading seasoned fries for plain fries. When Black kids brought homemade fries to school, cut from real potatoes and seasoned with a proprietary blend that might include garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cayenne, and seasoned salt, they brought restaurant-quality food to a cafeteria environment. These weren't the pale, under-seasoned cafeteria fries that tasted like hot cardboard. These were fries that had flavor, color, and the home-cooked quality that couldn't be replicated by institutional cooking. Yet the trade for plain cafeteria fries happened regularly, not because the plain fries were better, but because sometimes simple was easier, less attention-grabbing, and more socially neutral in environments where being different felt risky. This trade spoke volumes about the pressure Black kids felt to conform in school spaces. The seasoned fries were objectively superior. They had been made with care, seasoned generously, and often stayed crispy even when cold. They represented the Black family cooking tradition of never serving bland food, of understanding that seasonings elevated simple ingredients into something special. But in predominantly non-Black schools, those golden brown, heavily seasoned fries drew attention. Other kids asked what was on them, why they looked different, sometimes made faces or comments about the smell. Trading them for plain fries meant trading flavor for invisibility. Yet the kid who received those seasoned fries in the trade knew they'd gotten something special. They often ate them with enthusiasm, commenting on the flavor, asking what seasonings were used, sometimes requesting trades again in the future. These exchanges became moments where Black culinary culture was shared and appreciated by those willing to try something different. Both traders left satisfied, but something bittersweet remained. The recognition that exceptional food sometimes had to be hidden or traded away to avoid unwanted attention, and that standing out wasn't always worth the social cost, even when what made you stand out was genuinely better than the alternative. 18. Swapping oxtails for beef nuggets. Oxtails, those rich, gelatinous pieces of beef tail slow-cooked until the meat fell off the bone, served in thick gravy, represented luxury soul food when they appeared in school lunch containers. These weren't everyday food. They were expensive, time-consuming to prepare, and typically reserved for special occasions. When Black kids brought oxtails to school, carefully packed with rice or bread to soak up the gravy, they brought a piece of celebration to the lunchroom. Yet the trade for processed beef nuggets happened occasionally, because oxtails were messy, required hands-on eating, and sometimes attracted questions from classmates unfamiliar with this cut of meat. The beef nuggets offered simplicity and anonymity, even if they couldn't compete on taste. The oxtail trade carried feelings of both pride and practicality. These were dishes that Black families saved money to buy, that grandmothers spent hours cooking, that appeared at holidays and Sunday dinners. They represented the Black culinary tradition of transforming cuts of meat that others overlooked into something sublime through patience and proper seasoning. Bringing them to school was a statement of cultural pride, but it also meant dealing with the reality that not everyone understood or appreciated what you were eating. Some kids faced mockery for eating strange parts of animals, even though those parts were prized delicacies in their communities. These trades revealed the emotional complexity of navigating cultural identity in school spaces. The kid trading away their oxtails might have done so with reluctance, knowing they were giving up something delicious for something mediocre. But they also might have felt relief at avoiding questions, stares, or comments about their food. Meanwhile, the kid receiving the oxtails entered a cultural experience, learning about a different way of cooking and eating, sometimes discovering a new favorite dish. Both parties understood that this wasn't a fair trade in terms of quality or effort. But fairness in the lunchroom economy wasn't just about food. It was about social survival, cultural exchange, and the complicated navigation of being a Black kid in spaces that didn't always celebrate your differences. 19. Trading Vienna sausages for real hot dogs. Vienna sausages, those small canned sausages packed in salty brine, held a special place in Black household pantries as affordable protein that could be eaten cold, heated quickly, or added to various dishes. When Black kids brought Vienna sausages to school, either straight from the can or heated and packed in containers, they brought food that was practical, filling, and tasty in its own right. The trade for cafeteria hot dogs happened frequently, with kids swapping their canned sausages for the larger, grilled hot dogs served on buns. The trade seemed logical. Real hot dogs were bigger, came with a bun and condiments, and felt more like typical lunch food. Vienna sausages, while delicious to those who grew up eating them, sometimes drew questions or confused looks. This exchange revealed economic realities and cultural food preferences that intersected in the lunchroom. Vienna sausages were inexpensive, required no refrigeration until opened, and provided protein when budgets were tight. Many Black families kept multiple cans in the pantry for quick meals or snacks. They were eaten with crackers, added to beans and rice, or enjoyed straight from the can with hot sauce. But at school, they marked you as different, as someone eating food that didn't match the mainstream American lunch template. Trading them for hot dogs meant accessing normalcy, fitting in with what everyone else was eating. Yet Vienna sausage lovers defended their preference with pride. These weren't inferior to hot dogs, they were different, with a distinct texture and taste that many Black kids genuinely preferred. The trades often happened not because one food was better, but because variety mattered, because fitting in sometimes took priority, or because the kid with hot dogs actually preferred Vienna sausages and welcomed the trade. These exchanges created opportunities for cultural education, with kids explaining how their families prepared and enjoyed canned sausages, sometimes converting classmates into fans who started requesting trades. The lunchroom became a space where food prejudices could be challenged and different traditions could be appreciated. 20. Swapping peach cobbler for chocolate chip cookies. When black kids brought slices of homemade peach cobbler to school, that perfect combination of sweet, spiced peaches topped with buttery golden crust, they brought dessert royalty to the lunchroom. Peach cobbler was celebration food, the dessert that appeared at family reunions, Sunday dinners, and special occasions. It required time, skill, and quality ingredients to make properly. Yet the trade for packaged chocolate chip cookies happened regularly, because cookies were convenient, familiar, and didn't require forks or create messy peach juice situations. The kid with cobbler might want the simplicity of cookies they could eat while walking to class, while the kid with cookies jumped at the chance to taste authentic soul food dessert. This trade embodied the tension between homemade excellence and commercial convenience. The peach cobbler was superior in every way: fresh fruit, real butter, careful preparation, and that perfect balance of sweet and tart that only came from recipes perfected over generations. It connected to black culinary heritage, to the tradition of fruit cobblers that graced tables throughout the South and beyond. But cookies came wrapped individually, required no utensils, left no sticky residue, and could be eaten quickly between classes. The trade wasn't about which dessert tasted better. It was about functionality in a school environment where time and convenience mattered. These exchanges also created moments of cultural appreciation and sharing. The kid receiving the peach cobbler often ate it slowly, savoring the experience and sometimes commenting that it reminded them of their own grandmother's cooking. They recognized they were getting something special, something made with love rather than produced in a factory. Meanwhile, the kid trading away their cobbler sometimes did so with a bit of sadness, but also with the knowledge that they had tomorrow's lunch to look forward to, when they might bring different homemade food or keep it for themselves. The trades taught lessons about value beyond price, about cultural traditions passed down through food, and about the simple generosity that defines so many black lunchroom interactions.